Hello and welcome to Valley Viewpoint. We have a very fast show for you today, and I'm going to be talking with some of the fastest people in the state of Washington. So, guys, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'll just let you introduce yourself, and then I have a lot of questions for you guys.
Okay, I'm Kenneth Rooks. I'm a senior at College Place High School, and that's.
And you brought a friend.
And I brought this is Malia.
And I'm Malia Lowe. I'm a junior, and I'm doing running start through College Place High School.
Okay, and?
I'm Justin Ruzma, and I'm a junior at Walla Valley Academy.
Okay, and all of you had some success recently in cross country. But before we get to those stories about the recent races, I'd like to find out more about why you're involved in cross country. I mean, it's not a marquee sport, you know, like football or basketball or baseball, softball. A lot of people don't even know what cross country is, so maybe we should start there. Kenneth, since you're the senior, I'll let you explain what cross country is.
Okay, so cross country is, a lot of people get cross country and track and field a little bit mixed up. Cross country is strictly running, but scoring goes a little bit differently. Full team of cross country runners, it would be 7, and 5 of those place. The way they score is based on your place. So let's say you had runners that got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Mm-hmm.
You add up your score, and that would be 15. That's a perfect score at a cross country meet, and the lowest score wins.
Now, track is run around a designated oval.
Yeah.
How about cross country?
Cross country varies a lot. In fact, sometimes it's hard to compare times on different courses, even if it's the same distance, just because the terrain may be different. Some courses you do like maybe 3 laps, each lap is a mile, or some courses you just do a continuous path or trail. You don't run the same part twice. I mean, cross country, it is kind of what it is. You're running across the country or the terrain in your races.
So in track you have an oval, and
Yeah.
pretty much one track is like another track is like another track. So as you compare your times, it's a pretty good measurement of your progress. Whereas in cross country, each course is a little bit different. Some may have a lot of elevation.
Yeah, some have more hills. Some are pretty flat.
So your flat courses, you probably will do better on your flat courses than on the ones with a lot of elevation.
Yeah.
So, okay. Tell me why you got involved with cross country. I know that you played football your freshman year.
I did.
And you decided to go into cross country after that. So you're out of the marquee big splash everybody sees at sport, and now you're into something that many of your fellow students are probably saying, what's that?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing why I switched from football to cross country was, I had a lot of success in my freshman year with track and field. And me personally, I wasn't a fan of anything over the mile. But I knew I was good at it. I'd run a couple of 5Ks before, and I'd run some all right times for me. And with my success in track, I just decided to try out cross country and see how it went. And it went really well.
Now, if I remember correctly, you were the only freshman that qualified for your events at state championships your freshman year.
Yeah.
The only freshman there.
Yeah.
So that was an achievement in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But then, how did you place?
Well, I placed 5th in the 1600 and 5th in the 800 at state.
So you not only got there as a
Yeah.
freshman, but there are a lot of seniors that are coming across the finish line behind you.
Yeah.
All right. So that convinced you that maybe running
Yeah.
was the thing that you wanted to do.
Yeah, it helped convince me, yes.
Okay. Now, Malia, you're also involved in cross country.
Yes,
Again,
I
it's
am.
not the marquee sport. You know, probably most of your classmates are in something like volleyball.
Yes,
you know, where
definitely.
everybody comes and they get to, everybody sees them, and you're running around the country to golf courses and cross country courses.
Yes.
And running when most of your friends probably can't come along to watch. So, why did you get involved with cross country?
Well, my mom really likes to run, and that's kind of what started me out with the whole running thing. And so I started out with track, like Kenneth, and that kind of brought me into cross country. I actually didn't know about cross country until after track, and Kenneth had told me about it. So my mom really is what got me started running, because she loved it. And then she's like, hey, ever heard of track? You're going to do that. And so I was like, okay, cool, I want to run. So that's what got me running. And after track season, I was like, I love running. So I decided to join cross country.
Can you tell me what it is you love about running? Can you describe it and put it into some words?
I feel like when I run, I feel like it's a way to like vent. Like if you're upset about anything, if you're like it just helps. Like I can be like
So do
in
you
a
run
horrible
faster
mood.
if you're mad?
Yes, I do. I definitely do. All the way. It's very true.
So your coach probably tries to fire you up before every
Before
race.
every race, he's like messing with me. Yes, they can definitely tell when I'm in a bad mood. I'll be silent and just run. But as soon as I start running, instant better mood. It's great. I love it. So that's
Okay,
why I love
Justin,
running.
I want to ask you the same question. What did you like about cross country, and why did you choose to do that?
Well, I had a lot of success in last track season, and that was my first year since middle school that I've done running sports, and so I did really well. I didn't do any prior training to that track season, and I did really well in my meets, and I qualified for state, and so I kind
So you also qualified
Yeah,
for state championships
yeah,
in
I mean-
your first track season.
of, yeah, and so I just did cross country because I kind of realized the talent I had in running. I mean, not as much as Kenneth, but I mean, not many people can compare with him.
Now, Malia, you placed 5th at regionals.
Yes, I did.
recently, which is really an outstanding achievement. Of course, that automatically qualified you for the state championships
Yes.
as well. At the beginning of this season, this was your first season. Was this your first season in cross country? Or?
This was not. Last season was.
Okay, so this was your second
yes.
season in cross country. At the beginning of this season, did you say, I'm going to state championships this year?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. So, how did it feel out there? You're running with some of the fastest girls in Division 1A, and you know that only so many of you get to go
Yeah.
on to
yeah.
state. Is that a lot of pressure? Or?
Well, it's top 21, so I kind of knew that I'd make it, but I really wanted to get, like a PR. So
Maybe you can explain to our audience what PR
Oh,
is.
a PR is basically a personal record, so better than what you've ever done. I think, did I PR, Kenneth, at districts? I don't remember this
He's your
stuff.
statistician.
Yes,
That's what I mean.
he's my memory man.
Ooh, I think you did.
I think I did, and I was
think you
happy
did.
about
I'm
it.
pretty sure. Yeah.
I remember I was
Yeah, you
kind
did.
of upset because
You-
I wanted to break 20 minutes,
Yeah, that's
but I got 20 minutes and 2 seconds, so I was right there and almost broke it, but not quite. So
Leave something for next year.
yeah, exactly. Next year I'll do it.
That's great. Now, at regional championships this year, Justin, you were the champion for the 1B, 2B division. And
Not by much.
but I know you said that you wanted to win, and constantly through this season, you've run against people who had better times. Now, of course, Kenneth just explained that times don't necessarily mean as much in cross country as they do in track. But did that motivate you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we did some scouting prior to the regional meet, and so we saw there was a freshman, also named Justin, from a 1B school that was going to be there at the meet.
Trout Lake.
Yeah, Trout Lake. And so his time was like really good for a freshman, and it was about 20 seconds or so ahead of me. And so I really wanted to win that race because I know it was going to be my last race because I couldn't go to state. And so I just kind of convinced myself throughout the week leading up to that meet that I was gonna bring out everything I had left to win and do the best I could.
And it's pretty incredible in a cross-country meet that spans over 3 miles to have 2 runners coming up to the finish line within a second or so of each other. Now, in your race, it was kind of a blowout.
Yeah.
It always is.
How close was the second place runner? About a minute behind,
Well,
50 seconds?
Regionals, yeah, he was 50 seconds behind me, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very large gap. But it was, a close race.
Mm-hmm.
But here you have this runner that was rated well ahead of you. We don't know what courses that runner may have run
Right.
in the past, but there was some motivation there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, leading up to the state championship, you were also involved in a regional, and we just alluded to that and the fact that you won by about 50 seconds
Yeah.
in that particular race. But since you came in as the heavy favorite for that, how do you get motivation?
Well, a lot of times if I'm the favorite going into it, I have to make sure that I calm myself down and convince myself that there's no expectations, because sometimes I can put expectations on myself if I'm the favorite.
Is that a lot of pressure?
It is a lot of pressure.
So you'd rather
So-
be second and pull the upset?
Yeah, because there's not as much pressure. It's whenever I'm usually the favorite, or at least, well, in the past I've gotten a lot better at it. But if I'm the favorite in the race, sometimes I have a hard time dealing with it if there's someone else who's close behind me, because I just get nervous and I can psych myself out. I did that last year at state. When I placed 4th, I psyched myself out of the race.
So we live and learn.
So,
You'll know for this year at championships what you wish you'd known last year.
Yeah, and I dealt with it really well this year. So.
Well, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk about your training, strategies on race day, what you eat, kind of the nuts and bolts of what it takes to be a championship cross-country runner. So don't go away. We will be right back. Hello and welcome back to Valley Viewpoint. If you are just joining us, I am talking with 3 of the fastest high school runners in the state of Washington, and we're going to be talking about race strategy, race preparation. Tell me what you do in a week to train to get up to speed with all these people, or even ahead of them.
Well, something I do to prepare for my races is I try and visualize the race. If it's a course that I've run at before, I know the course, and so it helps me with visualizing. But with me, if I don't know the course, I'll just try and visualize just at certain points, like maybe at the half-mile mark, at the 1-mile mark, or the 2-mile mark, what I'm going to do at those points. And also, if I encounter a challenge during the race, like if I trip and I fall down, what decision I'm going to make, and I have to have that decided beforehand, because it's a lot harder to make it on the fly.
Now, let me ask you another question. Are you the team captain?
I am the team captain,
Okay.
yes.
So how do you motivate your team? I mean, you're the fastest person, but cross country is also a team sport. The other
Yeah.
the next four runners also figure into the scoring,
Yeah.
and the other two can affect the total team score as well. So, do you have a fiery speech at the beginning of every race, or do you talk with them through the week? What do you do to get the rest of the team to be a team and to perform at their optimum?
Well, I'm not as fiery of a speaker, but I just I try and just get our team together and just talk and remind us that we're going to be fine. That's the biggest thing, is you just have to remember you're going to be fine. Cross country is a long race, and there's a lot of pain in it, and you're gonna feel the pain. It's fine. You're gonna feel the pain. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be alive at the end. And so we talk about that, but also depending on the person. Some people, like Malia, she likes to get psyched up or mad. So sometimes maybe poking or joking around can help out some runners, and some runners are a little more serious and just need to be just kept calm. And so it really just depends. But you can.
So to get her ready, you just insult her all frustrated.
I tease her. I'm like her big brother sometimes.
Yes.
Getting ready for the race.
Definitely.
Yeah. But also you can tell if a person, just looking at them, if they're ready or not. And if you know them well enough on the team, like some people will will be really quiet, and some people will talk a bunch. It just depends.
Yeah.
But just trying to get them to believe in themselves. That's the biggest thing. Just trying to, in any way you can, to get them to believe in themselves. That way, when they encounter those tough spots in the race, that they can push themselves to be better.
Now, Justin, you're also the team captain for your team. What do you do to get your team members ready, psyched, help them to perform their best?
Well, first of all, I try to get everyone in a positive mood, because if you're not in a positive mood, you're not going to succeed. So I just like to encourage my teammates and kind of give them goals to set for themselves, to have something to reach for. So it kind of makes them more ambitious and try harder in the races.
So you would tell Malia, let's break 20 this week.
Yeah, so I'd give them like PRs to break and goals like that.
Now, Malia, at College Place, do you have separate team captains for boys and girls team?
Yes, we
Okay.
have
Are
two.
you the girls captain?
I'm not the
You're
girls
not.
captain.
Okay.
Carissa Stubblefield is the girls captain.
Okay.
Yep.
So how do you influence your team? You're not in the captain's role, maybe next year, but you're not in the captain's role. But what do you do to create enthusiasm and help the other girls on the team to get ready for a meet?
Usually I talk to them and I see where they're at, like how they're feeling, how they are mentally, because that's a big one, is making sure that they're mentally ready, like Kenneth was saying. I usually just pretty much do what Kenneth does, where I'm like, we've got this, you've got this. You know that you can do it, and you've got to accept that it's going to hurt. That's, like he was saying, one of the biggest things is just accepting that it's going to hurt and getting through it. So, yep.
Tell me about training. We'll start with you, Kenneth.
Oh, okay. Training, well, there's a couple different things with training. For one, there's off-season training, which is basically just getting in miles, just quality miles that are, you don't really have to work. I mean, well, yes, it takes a lot of work to do the summer miles, but it's not like going out and racing a bunch of miles.
Mm-hmm.
During track season, you work on more intervals with some speed, and trying to work on just building up, I guess, more of your, you get more anaerobic versus aerobic,
Mm-hmm.
and you break down your muscles more to get stronger. But also, hills are important. Hills are important to do, especially for cross country. You can tell on certain courses which people have done the most hill work in the season. And in cross country, you gotta learn to love hills because they hurt, and that's it's okay. I mean, I like hills. I think hills are fun. They help me re-engage into the race. And another thing we do with training is something called tempo runs, where we run we're almost at race pace, but we're in control of our breathing. So working to like push our lung capacity up and our stamina up that way. Yeah. But training is different depending on the coach, depending on the week. It varies and when your races, but there's easy days, hard days, and yeah.
Now, Justin, Kenneth just emphasized the importance of hills. You had a couple of experiences in this season where hills played a significant role. For example, at the Gutbuster in Milton Freewater, where there's a significant rise, a very significant rise in that particular case. Tell us about your experience there, and also at the regional championship, you passed your competitor on maybe a small hill, not a great big rise, but still, for someone that doesn't train much with hills, it might be an obstacle. Tell us about your experience and success with the hills.
So this year, we've put in a lot of work on the hills at Whitman Mission. And so we do a lot of intervals to build speed going up the hill. And so at the Gutbuster, there's a really big hill. And so that's why it's called the Gutbuster. And so I was like number 2 or number 3 in the race up to then. And so I decided that I was going to make my move to get in first when we got to the hill. And so we got to the hill, and so it started out pretty rough, but I managed to pass and get in front and stay in front the rest of the race and win. So yeah, I think all the hill training paid off for that. And at the regional meet, where I won by 1 second, I passed the person ahead of me on a hill. So yeah.
So that plays significantly into cross country.
Mm-hmm.
Malia, is there anything special that you do on race day? Do you eat any differently? Do you sleep any differently? Do you do anything in a special preparation for the day you're going to run?
Like the night before, I definitely make sure that I go to bed at a decent time rather than staying up late, which is not a good idea before a race.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that, and then in the morning, I'm supposed to eat breakfast, but I get nervous a lot of the time, and I don't eat breakfast because I feel sick. So I try to do that. Kenneth helps me with that.
Yeah.
And so that, and then I try to eat before the race, not like really close before the race, within 2 hours. So that's basically it. And I make sure that I don't eat anything bad because I don't want to.
What would be bad? Give us an example of a bad.
Cookies, having a lot of dairy, that's not good. Basically like having fruits and vegetables and that type of stuff. Yeah. So yeah.
So does cross country affect your lifestyle apart from just the running? I mean, does it change the way you eat all the time? Does it change other habits? I don't know.
It definitely changes a lot of stuff. Like when I stop running, I can tell that I get a lot less healthy. And it also causes me to eat better because it makes me crave better foods rather than craving like sugar and that type of stuff. So I definitely like running because it makes me healthier just in general.
Now, it's been mentioned several times that this is not the shortest race. What do you do to stay hydrated in a race like this? Anybody?
Well, for me, almost drink too much. It's kind of weird, but you almost have to drink a little bit too much. At least that's something I do. And you have to drink water in the day before and be hydrated the day before as well. There's things you can do to get ready for the meet the day of, but your preparation does start the day before or the night before.
Now,
Yeah,
cross country
definitely.
is an interesting sport in high school because it spans August, when it can be blazing hot, 105 degrees, and you finish in November when it can be 30.
Yes.
So, what do you make any kind of adjustments along the way because of the weather?
With the training that we do, we kind of get acclimatized, like, to race in the weather because we're training outside, so we slowly get used to the weather that we're running in.
Now, Kenneth, you have one more race yet
Yeah.
this weekend. Tell us just a little bit about the Nike.
Okay, so I signed up for what's called Nike Cross Country Regionals. Well, it's sponsored by Nike,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in
Boise?
Boise,
Mhm.
Idaho. It's the meet that you would go to if you were to qualify for Nike Cross Country Nationals. I decided to run it because I haven't ever really done anything out of season cross country wise, and I decided this
Well,
year to just give it a try, see what happens.
We want to wish you the best, and thank you all for coming on the show. Justin and Malia, you have one more high school season
Yes.
ahead of you, so a chance to improve and do even better. So wish you the best with both your track season in the spring and then next year's cross country season. And thank you for joining us on Valley Viewpoint today. If you have an idea for a future viewpoint, why don't you contact me? You can call the station, or you can contact me at valleyviewpoint@bmt.tv. For Viewpoint, I'm Dan Solis.
Blue Mountain Television is a viewer-supported ministry. That means we rely on you to provide the funds to keep this ministry operational. To support this station, please send your tax-deductible gift to Blue Mountain Television, 1200 Southeast 12th Street, Suite 2, College Place, Washington, 99324. That's Blue Mountain Television, 1200 Southeast 12th Street, Suite 2, College Place, Washington, 99324. Thank you for your generous support.